Tonight we're going to talk about the problem with independent film financing. The way we finance independent film is fundamentally flawed. Here's the typical process. Write a script, try to attach star power, knock on every producer, investor, or distributor's door, hoping someone says yes. If you're lucky, scrape together just enough money to barely get through production, and cross your fingers that a festival pickup or distribution deal is going to bail you out. If this sounds familiar to you, you are not alone. It's outdated, inefficient, and frankly, unsustainable. Why does this model not work? It's high risk, low reward. Most independent films struggle to recoup their budgets, making investors hesitant. And once you've invested in a film and not gotten any money back, you are not going to invest in another movie. The gatekeeper problem. Filmmakers waste months, if not years, waiting for approval from investors and distributors who rarely take risks on new voices and overhead-heavy budgets. We think we have to compete with Hollywood, so we try to put together Hollywood-level productions, and it's just not realistic. You can make a film with a crew as low as one person, maybe even 6 people like we did with 13 Miles. I have seen films that have gone on to be very successful with crews of 15 to 20 people. Too much money gets lost in bloated budgets trying to mimic Hollywood, rather than focusing on what truly matters, the story. So what's the alternative? Let's break it down. Build an audience first. Hollywood has traditionally focused on selling films to distributors, but in the age of the internet, why not sell directly to your own audience? When it comes to crowdfunding, think of your crowdfunding as a way to crowd raise. In other words, don't just look for money. Look for collaborators, look for partners, look for people who can contribute something maybe other than money, like a location, or someone who runs a bakery, or someone who runs a coffee shop. Money is, of course, wonderful, but there's more to life than money. And it's sometimes important to understand that if you can build an audience yourself of people who want your film to succeed, that audience can be more valuable than the money that you might get from a crowdfunding campaign. That being said, don't neglect crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is a great opportunity for you to engage with your audience, create an outreach program, and potentially meet some investors or non-traditional investors who might be interested in the subject matter of your film. Use social media correctly. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube allow you to build a fan base while you're still developing your project, and a loyal audience will support you financially when the time comes. Beware though, you need a lot of followers in order to make any kind of financial pitch through social media. Use your social media to engage with influencers or people who are in the same genre and space as you who can help amplify your message. And there's a lot more I could talk to about that. And if you'd like to see a video like that, please do leave a comment below. Niche is the new mainstream. Not every film has to appeal to a wide audience. Focus on building communities. If your film caters to a niche interest like science fiction, regional culture, cooking, farming, specific social issues, or just Canadian spy film or a triathlon movie, tap into that audience directly. Use specialized platforms. Partner with a niche streaming service or release on platforms like Vimeo On Demand or even like Gumroad to retain control and maximize revenue. And if a channel or a niche streaming platform doesn't cater to your particular genre, this could be an opportunity. If you've got a film that has a very good reach of people who are passionate about those types of films, you might be able to create your own streaming service, and that could be a fantastic side business. Think beyond traditional investors. It is time to rethink who funds indie films. There are local businesses that you can approach that might align with your film's themes. A local coffee shop or a brewery might love to sponsor your shoot if it features their products. Car dealerships, even just local businesses like dance studios are a great one to look at, bike shops, plumbers, auto mechanics, you name it. There's always an opportunity out there if you're willing to look. And if you're willing to take a look at what your film is about and look for the opportunity within the film. E.T. had Reese's Pieces, so what business can your film make famous? Start lean and stay lean. A concept called zero cost accounting, which means you put your money on the screen as much as possible. So if you're gonna spend money on something, make sure it is a valuable piece. Something like a really cool stunt that you maybe perform once on screen that you can use in trailer moments, that's worth spending some money on. Spending thousands of dollars on a location that is basically as generic as any other place doesn't serve your film. Create a budget built around what you have. Base your script around locations, props, and actors that are already within your reach. Multi-use locations, find ways to repurpose one location for multiple scenes, cutting down on time and costs and moves, and maybe even the need for a large transport department. Consider all the digital technology that's out there. There are advances every single day in the field of film that make the bloated Hollywood production very, very redundant right now. I won't get into it here, but again, if you do want to have a video on some ways technology can help you save money on your film, I'm happy to make one. Just leave a comment below. Rethink distribution completely. Stop waiting for a Netflix deal, because the Netflix deal isn't coming. Consider organizing your own live event screenings with Q&A sessions, or partner with local theaters to create buzz. And think outside the box when it comes to theaters. Theater doesn't have to mean a movie theater in a multiplex. It can mean a backyard cinema that you set up with a rented projector, a screen, and a set of speakers. You could do these in a hotel conference room. You could do them in a basement of a community center. You could do them at a school. There are lots of places that have the space to host a screening, and especially if you can offer something special in return, like maybe, especially if it's at some kind of a restaurant or a pub that has a private room, you can offer the pub, hey, our people are gonna stay around afterwards and have some beverages, so just let us use this room, and so on. Most films do not make money in theaters, even the big budget ones. You hear all the time about movies that are losing money at the box office. So you don't even need to compete at that level. You don't even need to think about yourself as necessarily having to have a film that succeeds at the box office. You're just using it to build your audience and to build a profile that you can use for when you actually sell this film online. You should also consider merchandising, turning your film into a brand with posters, apparel, limited edition DVDs. All of these little extras can bring back a little bit of revenue to your project. Consider on-demand models like Patreon even, where you might even you start a Patreon plan where you show behind the scenes of your film while it's in progress, and then as a reward to all the people who are on Patreon, you do a live Patreon screening when the film is released digitally. And that could be a great way to release your film exclusively to subscribers before going wide. Think big picture. The Hollywood financing model is crumbling. Waiting for a system built on outdated rules to save you isn't just risky, it's self-sabotage. Instead, think like an entrepreneur. Build your audience, focus on efficiency, leverage non-traditional funding. Your film doesn't need to fit into the old mold, it needs to break it. So what's the most creative approach to film financing you've seen or used? Drop your ideas in the comments below, and I'd love to hear how others are disrupting the status quo. Have a great night.